I really tried to like fishing. I'm Joseph. This is Input English. Today's topic is fishing. Do you like to fish? When I was growing up, my parents loved fishing. They spent a lot of money on fishing. They had a partial interest in a boat that they kept on a river, and we would go there and use that boat and have long fishing trips. They took us on trips. The purpose of the trip was to go fishing. They spent a lot of their resources on fishing, and of course they taught the children to fish. Final analysis for me, I don't like fishing. Now, I'm not critical of people who do. It's not that I'm trying to talk you out of it. It's just an interesting topic. It's an activity that's very common in the United States. When I was growing up in the latter half of the 20th century, hunting and fishing were the outdoor sports of the day, and that's what people did. And my parents fit right into that pattern. So they spent a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of time fishing, and then they taught that to their kids. In the eastern United States, there's a lot of freshwater fishing in lakes and rivers, and then there is ocean fishing, saltwater fishing. Saltwater fishing can be further divided into fishing for fish that you're going to eat, very edible fish, very desirable fish for eating. And then there is the type of fishing people do for trophies, big game fishing. A number of fish come to mind in that category: tarpon, sailfish, marlin. These are fish people frequently catch as trophies. As we were taught to fish in the fresh water, we were catching bass and some panfish called brim. I have to admit I did not enjoy doing that. One of the things I really disliked about fishing was the amount of time waiting for a fish to bite. When I did catch a fish, it was exciting, but there were some negative aspects of it. Freshwater fish don't smell very good. I didn't enjoy the prospect of killing a fish and cleaning it so that it could be eaten. When we did eat freshwater fish that were prepared, that we had caught, I didn't find they tasted very good. I found that saltwater fish tasted a lot better than freshwater fish to me, but I have to admit I didn't enjoy saltwater fishing much better than freshwater fishing. I tried my hand at big game fishing, and I did, as a teenager, catch a tarpon that was nearly 5 feet long. That was exciting, but you can't eat tarpon. As an adult, on a trip to Mexico, I went deep sea fishing and caught a black marlin, and that was exciting, but I did stop the crew of the boat as they were preparing to kill it with a mallet. I stopped them and said, "I'd like to release this fish." They were astonished, but they acquiesced, and we released that fish, and it swam away. Catch and release fishing in freshwater and saltwater is well known and widely supported. There are some rivers where catch and release is the rule. I tried my hand at bow fishing, and that was very interesting. The way we did it was 2 people in a 12-foot long boat with a motor, and one of us would drive the boat, and the other was the archer standing in the front. And the fish that we would shoot at were in the salt water or brackish water. We were not terribly successful as bow fishermen. And that experience taught me that I would prefer to drive a boat than fish. Some fishing is done while trolling. That is, you have the boat set up with the lines into the water, then you drive the boat slowly enough that the lure or bait is presented to the fish, and the fish can strike on what you're fishing with, and then you can ostensibly catch the fish. I found trolling rather boring. In the early history of the United States, hunting and fishing were very important for people's survival. These two activities produced a lot of rich nutrients that people needed to survive. They had agriculture, but this was frequently augmented by nutrients they got from hunting and fishing. In the 21st century, acquiring food for nourishment doesn't require us to go hunting or fishing. And so now we see these as sporting activities, leisure activities, but not necessary for survival. Based on the influence that my parents had on me, I really did try to enjoy fishing, and I pursued fishing as a leisure activity, but as time passed, I realized I simply didn't enjoy it and that there were better things for me to do with my time. Decades after having caught a tarpon on a rod and reel on a deep sea fishing trip, as a scuba diver, I found myself diving in the midst of tarpon. This was a very interesting experience because these are very big fish, frequently 6 feet or more in length. Some places I dove among the tarpon and they barely moved. You could swim within about 6 to 8 feet from them, and then they would gradually move away from you, keeping their distance. But they were not quick to swim away and hide. They just kept a safe distance from us. This gave us great view of these fish. The other time I encountered tarpon as a scuba diver was night diving. And the first time it happened was incredibly frightening because we were diving and we didn't know they were there. And then out of nowhere, this large object came at us and past us rather quickly. The behavior of the tarpon that we encountered when we were night diving reminded me of the behavior of dogs. This large fish swam toward us like a dog and then did not make contact, but came within inches of us as it swam by. On one dive trip, we did a series of night dives in the same location, and because of an abnormality in one of the fins of these two tarpon, we could identify them. It was the same pair because the abnormality in the fin was very specific. It was an old injury. And so night after night, we would get in the water and these same gigantic fish would come swim around us. They would give us a fighter escort, if you will, or they would just behave like dogs, checking us out, swimming with us, swimming around us, but not harming us at all. Having encountered these magnificent large fish face to face as a scuba diver means I will never try to catch a tarpon on rod and reel because it changed the relationship I have with this fish. Our parents have a hand in influencing our preferences as we become adults, but as adults, we are called upon to decide what we really like, what we really want. And after years of trying to fish, trying to enjoy it, I've concluded that I'm not a fisherman. I simply don't enjoy fishing. I tried to enjoy fishing, and I discovered it's not for me. What about you? Do you like fishing? Do you like other sports similar to fishing? I invite comments below. My point in this episode was not to dictate whether or not people fish. My point is that there is only so much time and that we should select the activities that we like and that bring us joy. And if you like videos like this one, be sure to click on this one next. See you soon.